Aloha, everyone. You have just joined us at Leveraging Up Your Voice, Your Story, Your Impact. And today, our guest is Todd Whitelow, and he's from Dublin Digital. And to get us started, I'm just going to ask you one question to get us started. You okay with that, Todd?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Todd. So tell me, what inspired you to do what you're doing today, and what is it that drives your passion?
Yeah, so I've been fascinated with technology since a young age, about I'd say like 8 to 10 years old, and I was going to school for it and learned it in high school, and I used to tear apart computers, and it's always just been like this passion of mine to be involved with technology. And over life, I've realized not everybody feels that way. A lot of people get frustrated with technology, but they need it to operate their business. So I like to feel like a cyber hero and come in and be able to help fix the issues that they may be experiencing with technology and also help protect them. So that's the passion that drives me, is being able to be like a cyber superhero.
Oh my God, I like that. How come that's not the title of your company? Okay. So, with your with your love of technology, 8 years old, that's young to be even thinking tech. So tell me, what drives you to just love doing that?
Yeah, I think it's like the challenges. Technology is challenging at times, and it's a lot of problem solving. And I like the challenge of that. I like the critical thinking and what's involved with just troubleshooting the issues. So it's like an adventure for me.
If you could think about one story about a client that you really helped, how did you feel, and what was the reaction of your client when you were able to solve their challenge?
Yeah, I'll just pick a simple example. There's a there's a CEO of a insurance company that I worked with, and his computer just wouldn't charge. It stopped receiving the charge. It was plugged in and everything, but it just wouldn't charge the battery. He had a meeting coming up, a really important meeting, and he calls me. He's like, Todd, I don't know what's going on. Please help me. I was like, I happen to have the availability, so I stopped what I was doing. I drove there. I was able to identify the problem with some drivers, applied the updates, rolled it back, and then he was like, I tried everything, and so he was just super excited and happy that I was able to ensure that his meeting was to go, as he needed.
Well, now that is a true superhero story. So tell me, how long have you been in the business of what you're doing?
Yeah, so somewhat of a different path than traditional, but in high school, I was in a technical program, and I got my first certifications and I got my first job in IT. That was in 2006, and I worked in some IT positions and went to college, and then I decided I got a job as a web developer for a company and started doing more digital marketing. So I really started to get experience in not only just troubleshooting technology, but doing digital marketing and building websites and programs. Um, and then around 25, 26, I started to get a little burnout, and decided to move to Colorado. I'm originally from Florida, and I wanted to learn how to snowboard and just, I've always loved nature as much as I love technology, but for a while I just got way into the technology. So I moved to Colorado, started tapping into my passion for nature, and worked at some ski resorts for a while. And then COVID happened, and I was like, huh, what am I going to do now? I said, let's go back to technology. And so I started a business, Dublin Digital, right around the time where we were all sitting in our houses for COVID, and started to just think about how I could help companies with their technology.
Wow, man, that was a big shift, wasn't it? Well, if you could look in the camera and tell our listeners out there, because I'm going to tell them to lean in a little bit, if there were 3 tips that you could give them about your business and what you can do, to service, what their challenges are, what would that be?
Okay, yeah. The first one I would think about is email security. Most companies are getting attacked through their email, whether that be email impersonation or other vectors like phishing. People should look into increasing the security for their email. There's a lot of things you could do, and if you work with someone like me, I can help make sure that's protected. Another one would be enable multi-factor authentication. That's a big buzzword right now. Everyone should have that, and that's basically when you log into your accounts, it should not only just ask you for a password, but it should have some type of code that goes to your phone to verify that you're actually that person and not just a person who stole your password. And then number three would be utilize as much automations and AI as you can implement into your business. There's a lot of different ways that you can help with your efficiency and some of those tasks that you could just have a robot do.
You know, it's so interesting that you mentioned AI and incorporating that into their technology. Talk to me a little bit more about that, because I thought I saw a glimmer of excitement there when I saw you talk AI.
Yeah, well, automations is a type of AI too that a lot of people don't think about. But for example, with onboarding a new client or something, you could have it as soon as they sign a form, it automatically sends them this email that once that email is checked, then another action happens and so on, just to be kind of broad about how you can do it. But those little tasks that you would normally have to do manually can happen so much quicker now and save you so much time. So that's one type of AI was automation, but also there's all these like voice agents and people that can, well, not people, but AI that can answer the phones for you, pre-vet your lead, and then get them booked on the calendar for you, stuff like that. Like those are just two ones that stand out to me the most.
That's amazing. Do you do AI also, Todd?
Automations, that's a lot of what we do. We also have some of those conversation AI and chat bots and such, but a lot of what we're implementing is in automation as well.
Wow, that takes it to a whole new realm, because you're not just IT, you are doing artificial intelligence. Is there anything else that we should know that that you're offering?
Yeah, I would say a lot of people hear IT, they just think my computer's not working or I need a new laptop. But we also need to secure the devices that we're using. So cybersecurity tools is a big part of our packages. So all of our packages include some type of cybersecurity service. And then as you go up, there's more secure packages.
If you think back on your years in working with cybersecurity and the IT part of it, what one lesson could you tell our listeners that you learned that you want them to know about?
Everything is always changing. And so you need to, just like anything else in the business world, you need to be able to adapt and sort of be ahead of the changes. And so with that, it's important to research and understand what's needed in your business when it comes to technology and cybersecurity.
And if you could take a look at the most advice that you give to someone, what would that be? Is it one or that other, or is it both?
Of those two things I said,
Yeah.
I would say both. Yeah. You really want to stay on top of what's coming and changing and be ready to adapt. And I think it's kind of good.
Amazing. There's so much more to IT here, guys, or the digital realm. And Todd's one of them that you might want to contact. So Todd, if you could let our listeners know, how can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, absolutely. So they can go to the website is Double O Digital, kind of like you see below my, well, it's DUBLOW Digital. Sometimes when I say it, people hear 00, but that's not it. So dublowdigital.com. We're also on social media, on Facebook, Instagram, but the website will be a nice direct route to us.
Awesome. If you could do a shout out to the listeners here, what would the last thing you would say to them to let them know that, hey, I'm right here and you can give me a call and I can help you with your digital?
Yeah, so there's no company that's too small for IT and digital marketing. A lot of people, not digital marketing, digital services, and a lot of people feel that they are, but we have packages that can help solopreneurs or even large companies with 100 employees. So don't feel like you're too small. Definitely reach out. There's always some type of solution that we could help with in whatever stage you are in your entrepreneurial journey.
That's amazing, Todd. Thank you so much for taking time to stop by and just let us know a little bit about who you are, what you stand for, and what you do. Because, in leveraging up, it is all about your voice, your story, your impact. And I can tell you, cybersecurity is what you want to be fully aware of. And I'm going to recommend that you get in touch with Todd. So for now, we're going to say aloha and have an amazing day.
Have an amazing day. Aloha.